What's up, Juventus? Welcome back to the AJC channel dedicated to Juventus. And Juventus, they need a response, all right? There's no bigger stage than the San Siro. Can the Bianconeri silence their rivals and get back to winning ways in the Derby d'Italia? It's a huge one today, on top of a critical stretch of fixtures. Would have loved to go in there in better terms after the previous two matches, but it is what it is. The lads got to take care, and we do have lineup news going into the game today, and we just got some other interesting headlines that we're ready to tackle and have some fun as we get ready for this match against Merda. Omer's with me, of course, as you see here. Brother, how are you doing today, my friend?
Good morning, Chad. Good morning, Berto. I'm doing fine, just fine. No, I'm doing phenomenal. I'm doing as usual. The white in your beard really comes in. It looks great, man. Black and white.
Thank you. I don't know what to say. Thank you.
Finally,
I mean,
finally.
black and white, buddy. Black and white.
Yeah, it goes along with the hat and the shirt. Yeah, looks good, man.
Black and
Yeah,
white, man. You know?
a packed show and a super important game. Let's get into it.
Yeah, what's up to everybody in the army that's joining us here? We got Cugino, Eddie, we got Forza, Juve 6782. Great to see you in here. We got Panda in here, ready to go. Absolutely love it. Giuseppe Cataldo already looking for predictions. Take it easy, take it easy. We'll get there, we'll get there. We got Odin, we got Chris, we got DR1S. Great to see you. Magical Realism 82. Mikel, Pino Bianconeri, Giuseppe Cataldo again coming in here. Very optimistic from Magical Realism, going with the 0-5. My
At the San Siro, that would be the best day ever.
That would be one of the best. Now, Apex, great to see you in here, and Tuna as well. We are going to tackle some of the headlines first, and then of course get into the preview for the game as we do all the time. All right, we're going to have some fun. Okay, we're going to start things off with there were some interesting debates over some of the news that was breaking out this week. Some of it came to no surprise, but obviously Juve's already got eyes on the summer and what they're going to be doing, and that's no surprise to anybody. And obviously, as part of working on some free agent signings that we've been hearing a lot of, one of the headlines, of course, even today, was that there was positive new meetings with Marcos Senesi, and there is going to be an offer presented from Juventus shortly. However, part of this is evaluations, internal evaluations at Juventus. You have players on the chopping block. To nobody's surprise, Cope Miners finds himself on that list. Openda is another one that's rumored to find himself on that list. These are going to be very difficult maneuvers. We all know that. You could see that. Things would have to change drastically from today. Valentine's Day, by the way. Take care of those ladies, everybody. Okay? Take care of the ladies in your life. Valentine's Day. But yeah, from February 14th to the end of the season, it'd have to be a drastic change for these two players in particular for anything to Openda Cope Miners. It's going to be a struggle, a battle to say goodbye to these guys, okay? Now you also have Gatti entering the list. I don't think you're going to hear any complaints right now on this list. And then you get to Di Gregorio. And Di Gregorio finds himself on the list. He's the only one, though, that the story is a little bit different. It's about market opportunities. It's about getting capital, being able to fulfill that position, and still potentially strengthen the squad. It's about boosting that transfer budget while you have a proper option to come in. So Vicario listed 25 million euros. And then, of course, the one that gets everybody from 6 to midnight out there, it seems, Carnesecchi, 25 million euros. I'm not buying that price tag on Carnesecchi. I'll tell you right now. Contracted with Atalanta to 2028, a season where everybody's talking about him because of how many shots are faced and everything. But Di Gregorio sparked an interesting discussion because the fan base seemed to kind of be split on the fact that, some are saying he's an actual problem. Others are saying, well, he's not a problem, but, you know, what are you going to do? So I'm going to ask you, Omer. This is the chopping block right now, those names. Are you in line with me? We don't really have an issue with the first three, but where do you stand on Di Gregorio? He seems to be the only one that really has a discussion around it.
It's a weird one with Di Gregorio. I kind of it feels like it changes every match, and the big issue with him for me is the big matches. Like I don't feel he comes out big in the big matches where it's really important. But he does have good performances. I mean, just before Lazio, we had Parma. He had a great match there. He had some phenomenal saves, and I see this conversation. It pops up from the beginning of the season,
Yeah.
and I mean since we started. And to tell you that I'm 100% happy with him, no, it could be worse. I kind of have to wait till the end of the season because 25 for Karnaseki sounds like like a pipe dream. It can't happen. No way with Atalanta. I would love to have him, and I don't know. I don't feel like he's a major issue right now. Yeah, he has mistakes. Yeah, he's not going to be Buffon at any point of his career if he plays for 100 more years. And we've been spoiled, man. We had the best goalkeeper in the world for a long, long time, and saying no one is gonna fill those shoes is an understatement.
I I feel like Di Gregorio was solid last year. Really solid. And down the stretch was big. He was big. He was a big part we got into where our objectives were. This season, it's been a bit of a step back. But again, it's like there's so much going on. Because if you look at one of the names that's targeted, well, what's going on there? He faces a ton of shots. He's making some saves that catch highlight reels, etc. And the hype train is around him. Exactly like it was 3-4 years ago, and it was just filled with loans all over the place. So when you start looking at Di Gregorio, it's kind of like these hype names coming up are kind of like he was while he was with Monza, facing a ton of shots and getting in highlight reels with certain saves he's making. The game has changed a lot with Juve as well. And now all of a sudden it's like, does he make any less? Because the main argument with Di Gregorio, he doesn't steal you points. Well, he does, and he has, probably at a normal rate if you were to look at it. But my God, is it fair to ask the question, why do we need so many damn points stolen? Because no goalie's going to steal all of those points for you. The big game shout, we'd have to see because, yeah, I don't know. And it's funny because our opponent today, you go back to the match at the beginning of the season, that was a 4-3 thriller. He took blame on those goals. But for me, it's like, I couldn't blame him on those shots, the two from Çalhanoğlu, etc. Here we go. We have this battle. This is where I stand. If you're saying he's a problem, I don't agree. Problem's a strong word when you're talking about him and his performance, etc. I don't believe he's a problem. But I do believe Juve needs to look at moves where you can gain capital, replace that player properly, and go towards the rest of your roster. So he's not a problem in my opinion, but if there's an opportunity to improve the team, boost your transfer budget, find at a minimum the same level replacement, it's probably something you have to look at. So I just see it as maybe an area you can improve, but not a problem per se. That's where I stand kind of on it, you know? I think you're
Yes.
muted.
So what are the names that are actually?
You're good.
Yeah. What are the names that are an option for us that will be better than Di Gregorio? Because Vicario isn't one.
Vicario
I'm
for
not
me is
impressed
the
with
worst
him,
out
and
of
I
the
don't
three.
want
If you're
him from
talking
Di Gregorio.
Digre, Carnesecchi, and Vicario, he's the worst of the three.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
And
I mean,
Carnesecchi,
if
like,
it's
I
not
mean,
an immediate
Carnesecchi,
upgrade,
here comes
mhm.
another Atalanta player. And again, as okay, is the world going to be different for him when he joins Juve? Yes. And you're taking a gamble there. Are we
Maybe.
100% confident Carnesecchi is the reincarnation of like legendary keeper for Juve in the making for a long time coming? It could go either way. There's gambles involved when you pick up players, right?
Hmm.
He's having a great season this year, but remember, it's only shored up while Palladino joined, and before nobody was really talking about others than the same thing they were saying about D Gray and other goalies when you're facing a ton of shots. Yeah, he's making some good saves. Oh, it's not his fault they're
Hmm.
not getting results or anything because all the shots he's facing. So Vicario's definitely not it. Carnesecchi,
I like what
Carnesecchi's
Tuna
like
says. Uh,
in many people's eyes going to be an improvement. Okay, but 25 million would not be the price tag. So for me, if you're going to say Di Gregorio's a problem, that means you're willing to spend a significant part of your summer budget at that position. Ultimately, for me, I'm going to say no. Because where I expect Carnesecchi's price to be at is probably 45, 50 mil, if not a little bit more. And
and
that's a
there's
no for me.
and there's, I mean, it really depends on where Juve do finish, because I mean, a few teams are making a push right now for that fourth spot. We're definitely not guaranteed to make it to the Champions League next year, and if we don't, then Atalanta somehow manages to do so, or just without even considering Atalanta, then I don't think it's an option either way.
Yeah.
And I
It
don't see a whole lot of names. I mean, Svilar is a good shout from Tuna, but I
as
don't know.
much as
I,
I
it's hard to
hate
see Roma that didn't go up.
Intermerda, we have to understand that Juve and Inter are at two different ends of team building, right? Two completely different ends. One, a finished product, you know what to expect. Here they are making pushes for, trebles. God forbid. It ain't going to happen. But, okay. And then Juve that's been in this struggle, this disarray, that's trying to get the wheels rolling. Think about that. Does it not seem crazy to say it's a problem when you have a goalkeeper that over the past 2 seasons is second only to Sommer for clean sheets?
No, that's the thing. I don't think it's that bad with the Gregorio as people make it out to be.
I agree. I think it's a bit exaggerated, and it's in these results because we said the same thing about Locatelli. He made an error in the game against Lazio, and it pretty much erased 24, 25 matches straight of solid football. Like
It happens
solid
a lot. It
top level
happens a
football.
lot. We've
Yeah.
seen it with Chico as well.
Yeah.
Chico started getting shouts that he's not good enough, and why did we buy him? What a waste of money. And I don't see it. I don't see it. Not yet.
You have to have a replacement that is ready to be an upgrade for Di Gregorio that cannot be a major splash in your transfer budget. That's where I'm at. If you're going to say goodbye to Di Gregorio, you can't be splashing a big chunk of your budget. That
And
that's
and
that's where I'm at.
we did win that previous match against Inter because Zomer was shit as well. I mean,
Oh
three of
yeah,
those
because that
goals.
happens, and this guy's got the most clean sheets. He's doing a good job. But he's been getting shouts from Inter fans as well. It's fickle out there in the world of sports. That's the way it goes sometimes. Now, getting away from the chopping block, getting to some contracts. So Juve's obviously working on a lot of renewals. They're working on McKennie. They're working on Kalulu. They're working on Kefren Taram. Okay. Obviously, one that's kind of looming in the background is Dusan Vlahovic. A bit of a twist in the saga this week as we start to hear that he is maybe thinking about actually staying at Juve and that the door is opening. Everybody saw the reaction to the equalizer against Lazio, etc. But maybe, just maybe, he wants to stay. The interesting thing about all this, we haven't even really seen this guy with Spalletti, and while the team is generating a significant amount of chances. So the big hypothetical that came around, well, if this guy wants to stay, is it something Juventus should consider? Should Juve consider renewing Dusan Vlahovic? Some just say it's already over. Say goodbye. Omer, what do you say?
I knew that topic would come up eventually. I knew we're not done with the Vlahovic talk, and he's 100% out. And well, I raised the question, I don't know, a few weeks ago about how would it be if Dusan wasn't injured? Because most of the players in the team got better under Spalletti, and you have to wonder would Dusan have gotten better as well if he got to train and play regularly? How would that have affected David? And maybe that's something that, I don't know, kind of sucks that we didn't get to see. Of course, a lot of it depends on the numbers. I know everyone is bye bye Dusan, and we're like that as well. I wouldn't be surprised if you ever go out looking for a striker, a big guy, and start checking other names, and eventually realize that keeping Dusan would probably be, the best way to go. I'm not saying that for me it's the best way to go, but I wouldn't be shocked if you would, because I think they do like his mentality. I think he really does love the club. And the big glaring issue is his salary and his inconsistency. His inconsistency can be solved by Spalletti. His salary is down to him. He's not going to get 12 million from any club, not only from Juve.
And then all of a sudden, he's got to drop down a bit. And again, if you don't get the top money that you're asked for, which I don't believe he will, then the discussion comes up for him as well. Well, am I better off to stay where I know? The league I know, everything I know, the club I know, etc. And then it opens the door for Juve to maybe make a deal at a better wage. Here's my thing with this Juventus side. You need 2 strikers this summer. You need 2. At minimum.
Mm-hmm.
As it stands right now, Juve need to sign 2 strikers in the summer. You're not spending money on both of them.
No.
So to say that we got to shut the door, it has to be an out. I think it's going to come down to, as I always say, the devil's in the details. It's going to be that salary. If they can get him down to somewhere where they can also make an addition with another striker, and you can make a legit strike force, because he does have traits these guys that are currently here don't have. That's been apparent. But you also need another piece as well, even on top of Dusan Vlahovic. But you need 2 strikers. Openda is a major problem for Juve. He's got to go, and he's not a striker. David is a shadow striker, and he can help because his hold-up play, his touch is miles better than Vlahovic, but he's missing things that Vlahovic brings. So any way you slice it, you've only got David right now, which is one type of striker. You need 2 in the summer. You're not going to be spending money. You're not going to be spending money. And okay, so again, 12 million, if he gets that from another club, which I do not believe he's going to get. I do not believe he's going to get. And then the doors open. Soon, and this could easily open up into a scenario where maybe, just maybe, it ain't what he's thinking is going to be out there for these other clubs that probably think they're going to be able to snag him up like even cheap on wages because of how things have gone. I'm just saying, and if the drop was to come in salary, would you consider it? I'm just saying it has to be considered for Juve because you need 2 strikers. He doesn't have to be the man, but that's the thing. Are we going to be able to achieve a salary where he is not the man in signing him? I doubt that part. But should Juve consider it? I think you should consider it because you need 2 and you can't buy both.
I mean, to be honest, I wasn't that impressed with the names that popped up for like his type of player as well. I didn't really like Mateta, Sorloth from Atletico, and some of those guys. I didn't really like them. Like if Juve do manage, let's say the ideal scenario is Juve get rid of Openda and they do close a deal with Kolo Muani, and let's say they renew Vlahovic for half the salary that he has right now. I will be fine going with that into next season.
Yeah. I mean, you got to wait and see. And again, a lot of the comments in here, well, he's the highest paid player in the league. He'd have to cut his... That's exactly what I'm saying. If that situation arises, should Juve consider it? If that salary drops, I think you have a discussion to make. Who are the options? And this is the bigger thing. It's looking pretty damn skinny for strikers going out there. And Kolo Muani coming up, again, price tag. And I'm not... Kolo... Would you be happy in a world where Kolo Muani comes in and Vlahovic re-signs at a lower salary?
I just said I would.
I would be happy with that. Just like you said, you brought it up because everybody's saying Kolo Muani. Man, one of those is free. The price tag has to drop on Kolo Muani based on that season. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, wages are going to come into play, and other players Juve's trying to sign. Free agent signings. Kessier they're looking at. Bernardo Silva for me is a big push that Juve needs to make. And it's also another argument. Where's the biggest need for Juve? So that's another argument. But we're going to keep things going because another headline that came in was, Premier League sides looking for center backs. Lloyd Kelly, his name pops up on the list, having a strong season. There are shouts about this guy being on the cusp of potentially making national side. And the valuation currently thrown in media is 40 to 50 million euros. That is a standard price tag for Premier League sides. So now all of a sudden, I'm going to throw the hypothetical out there and we're going to tackle it. We're going to split it down the middle. If you get an offer of 45 million euros for Lloyd Kelly that you purchased for 17.5 a season ago, do you accept it? Omer, you're up, buddy.
You're making a poll out of it?
Yes.
Okay. Look, I've said here before that I even had a bold statement about it, that Juve should stop pursuing a starting left center back and stick to Kelly and maybe look for a replacement. Like if Juve go into next season, keeping Lloyd Kelly and signing, let's say, Moremovic, that would be great. That would be great business for me, and I would give up Senesi for it. Having said that, he's not untouchable, and he's not in the 70 million price tag. Like I think 40, 35 is reasonable. Now, let's see how the season ends. Like we talked in the green room, if Juve do make a push and manage to get to like quarterfinals or, God forbid, semifinals in the Champions League, that price could go up. If he does make it into the English national team, that price would go up. So it's a curious case with him. It goes to show you never know how things are going to work with some players, and I think he has done great. And it's not that easy. We've seen in recent years that it's not that easy to find players who actually, assimilate into the league, understand the culture, and understand what Juve is. And it seems like Lloyd ticks all those boxes. So I wouldn't be, trigger happy with letting him go.
Yeah. The poll's going to continue to run here. When it comes to Lloyd Kelly, would I sell Lloyd Kelly for 45 million euros? This is how I look at it. I admire the hell out of what he's done. It was a big turnaround because he was terrible, like unplayable for me last season. This season, made himself a key cog. He's been good, but I still see gaps in his game. And I still see a guy that struggles when the pace is quicker in the game and the decisions need to be quicker. I think he's found success because of the pace in Serie A being relatively slow game. Now, that said, I still see Lloyd Kelly in the future as a guy that's probably rotational, that's, pushing for that starting spot. So it comes down to where you have Lloyd Kelly in your core or not for Juve moving forward. He's on the fringe of a core for me. I'm kind of seeing it as we potentially could make 30 plus million in capital on a guy that's going to be a bench player for Juve if they get things right and make things strong. And you know what? If he goes back to the Premier League, I think he's going to struggle like he did previously, and I don't see him thriving or anything. Maybe you pick him back on a loan plus option deal. It'd be hard for me to pass up that money. Another reason why is look at Juve's work that they have to do in this roster. The guys that are at the top of the sales list aren't going to bring you money to strengthen the squad. Gatti will. Cope Miners won't. Openda won't. Douglas Luiz won't. Nico Gonzalez won't. So you're going to have to say goodbyes that make you money and allow you to improve this side. That much money on Kelly, I'd be hard pressed to say no. And here's another reason on top of it. Of all the positions, you've already got a long list of comparable players that are available right now that are targets. You're not going to be hard pressed to find guys at the back going into this summer. Up at the top, when you're talking striker, different world. Very difficult. Very, very difficult. At the back, right now, a ton of options and all comparable. I'm sorry, but that's a lot of money when you're trying to boost this squad and you're trying to get starter caliber players like 1A type players. I'd do it. I have Gatti and Kelly up there as far as capital players to come in. The realization that you could get somewhere around 55 to 60 in capital on selling both those guys, I'm not scared about saying goodbye. That's just me. Omer?
Yeah, I don't have a lot to add based on what I said. We still have to see how the season unfolds and what goes on with Juve in Champions League. And we have an international break coming up. I think that will tell us a lot. But yeah, he does have higher value than what we bought him for, and he's actually marketable, much more so than all the other guys you have mentioned. Juve have to look at it. They have to look at the options, but I'd set the price at a minimum. That's a minimum of 35.
Oh, yeah. No, like as far as money, obviously we want to get the highest, but 45, even at 45, that much capital, it's a very difficult situation. People want to look at the performances now and say, no, he's good. He's been solid. Like, why would you want to change that? Because does that price tag stay there? Does he maybe regress, which we've seen with players at times? Does he keep it going? Does he become a bench player and then that value goes down? We've seen situations on both sides. We've seen situations where guys have left, their value has gone up. We've seen situations where guys have stayed, we passed down solid offers, and then they regressed. We're seeing it with Cambiaso. We've seen it with Gatti. Nosedive from last season. So here you go. As far as the poll goes, 45 million. You saying goodbye to Kelly? It's a tight one. 57% yes, 43% no. That's one hell of a debate, and that's exactly how it went in our Army chat. Very, very tight, almost down the middle. But
credit to him. Credit to him that we're having this discussion right now. Seemed unimaginable a year ago.
I will never... Hey, credit where credit's due. This guy, I admire him. I like Lloyd Kelly. To think that you could reach this place from when he started, from when we first laid eyes on him, step on the pitch for Juve, to think that this would even be a discussion. To think that you'd even get 45 mil for this player. People were calling it the worst transfer Juve's ever made. You had guys on Paramount Plus cracking jokes about Juve Stabia and Lloyd Kelly. Well, that's why you got to pump the brakes sometime. Not think you're too big for your britches because you're on TV. Pump the brakes.
And also this goes as well to Jonathan David. We can talk about, not only us, I mean, players actually say it, of how tough Serie A is. You know,
Yep.
tactically, the old stadiums, and then expect everyone to come in and immediately, you know, start performing. You see it especially with Kelly and David, that sometimes you need time to understand how defenses work, how they mark you, all the tactics. And when you do get that, you start, you know, showing up more and actually producing more numbers. That's the case with David. I believe that he's really starting to understand the league, and definitely with Kelly. And bringing in Luciano Spalletti really, you know, actually improved those guys.
I want to bring this comment up from LJJ. A successful, serious club doesn't sell a performing player when the squad is struggling and it is in build-up unless they are happy where they stand. That is not true. That is not true. Because successful, serious clubs have sold performing players to what? Be able to make multiple signings when you're building. Now, if you want to take examples of top players that were sold, top performing players that were sold, you're normally going to find it when a more appealing club, you know, obviously we've seen Real Madrid pluck stars all over the place, performing stars left, right, and center. That's a different scenario. That team is not in a build where those players come from. But even when you're looking at a build, that's exactly how you build a team. Is make deals that see multiple players coming in, not one for one. If Juve were to say goodbye to Kelly at that number, that's not a one for one move when you're looking at Senesi on a free, when you've got 50% on Muaremovic, when you've got Rugani who's just on a loan who could also offer depth, just come back into the mix, when you've got Pedro Felipe that's out there on a loan, when you have Gil Puche that's down in next gen, that's ready to be a starter, according to the reports. You have way too many. You've got Rudiger on a free. You've got guys on frees all over the place. To pass up 35 million in capital on a guy that might be a bench player in the future, that's exactly how you build your team.
Yeah, and it's always tricky with sales and the right time to do it.
It is. It could be a gamble. Could be a gamble.
Yeah. I'll take, like you said, Real Madrid, for example. Real Madrid got rid of Casemiro at the exact time they should have. He was 28. That was his last big contract. It's either they pay it up next year or someone else will. And they sold him for, what was it, 80 million to Man United. And that's how you have to do it. I mean, I always say it's better to sell 1 year earlier than 1 year late. So if you like, let's say you extend Lloyd Kelly, I don't know him on a first name basis. You extend Kelly, and then his performances go down the drain, and he becomes what everyone wished he would be, so they can keep shitting on him. Then you're stuck because you're gonna renew him for 3-4 years, and the next time you can actually sell him, his value will be lower than what you even bought him for. So we have to take that into consideration. Same goes for McKennie. Right now, if you renew him, that's his last big contract. The next one will be much lower. And it's either you do it or someone else does it. Yeah. So I do agree you have to keep your performing players, and not say all of them.
But this goes back to a serious club and a build, that whole statement. Well, would it be serious to keep your performing players and not bring capital at all? Who are you going to bring in? We just went over it. Cole Miners doesn't bring you money. Openda doesn't bring you money. You're going to say goodbyes. You're going to have no money to pick anybody up. You're going to have a very small transfer budget. If you don't renew McKennie, you haven't taken any money in. There's an asset leaving. If you don't renew or do anything with Vlahovic, there's an asset leaving for nothing. Guys, you have to bring in money if you want to build. You have to bring in money if you want to build.
Yeah, and we're
Right
not in a
now.
position to bank on Champions League money or Scudetto money or whatever. We're just not there.
You're not there. You have to bring in money until, like, they're not far off, but they're still working at it. Right now, Juve is dependent on results for the finances and where they reach in these competitions. And they're tapping that on top of the budget. So there's still a lot of work to do financially. So would it be a serious build to say goodbye to these guys that are failing? You're not going to make any money on it. And then what? Pick up scraps? Is that a serious build? Or do you say some goodbyes and try to continue working on the club? For me, it's an easy decision. But hey,
Yeah.
it's a split down the middle. It's
yeah.
difficult. Juve's going to have some interesting options. And again, this is just a hypothetical, guys. Okay? Are there names that I would sell above Kelly? Absolutely. But not all of them make you money. Gatti right now, that's an easy sell. That's an easy sell. You say goodbye to Gatti. Cambiaso's on the brink too with some capital. Value that's hurt. We'll have to see what type of offers come in. That's all you could do at the end of the day. Wait for these offers to come in and then review. Now, Valentine's Day. What's Valentine's Day without a Derby d'Italia? Okay? God, everybody loves meeting these your bitter rivals on a Valentine's Day, okay? Add a little salt in there for Valentine's Day. Listen, another edition. We talked about the thriller that happened at the beginning of the season, and that pretty much is going to not be the story, I think, today in terms of everything has changed around both clubs from that game. It means nothing going into this one today against Merda. You look at them still in contention, obviously, for all three trophies. Okay, Serie A, Champions League, Coppa Italia, reaching semifinals there where they're going to face Como. And it's Kivu. Kivu that, again, you talk about the start for both these teams, completely different, and it's a completely different time. Now, all of a sudden, yeah, it's got some interesting storylines around it. You look at this matchup, Juve obviously coming off of two results that we would have loved to go our way, but you get pumped in the Coppa Italia against Atalanta. Mixed reviews and feelings from people out of that match, but nonetheless, it ends 3-0. It's unacceptable. There you go. You go into a matchup against Lazio. Got to win. Got to take it to them. You got to make a comeback. You got to dig deep. They did dig deep. They did make the comeback, but that's 3 points you got to take. That's 3 points you got to take. Now you get to this one. The Derby d'Italia, it's massive. It's huge. Right now, it's really huge for Juventus. You got Galatasaray on the back. You got Como and then Galatasaray again. Will they be thinking about that as well in this matchup? I hope not, because you can't look past this Inter side right now, and you're going to be at the San Siro. It is going to be hostile. The lads are going to have to be ready. Spalletti and the lineup, he's forced into making a decision too. We're going to get to it all. Inter are the team against which Juventus have received the most cards in Serie A in 3 points per win area, 159. Okay. In the head-to-head clashes between top four teams, though, this is one thing. Currently in the Serie A standings, Inter have earned the fewest points against the top four in Serie A with only 1 point. While Juve, Napoli, Milan all have 7 points. So the bigger matchups have been a struggle for Inter. Again, good form coming into this game. Are they all of a sudden going to break that drought this season in the bigger games? We'll see. We'll see. Since Serie A was founded, In a single round robin format in 1929-1930, Inter and Juve have faced each other 227 times across all competitions. Juve boasts 105 victories compared to 64 for Merda, okay? 58 ending in draw. Inter and Juve faced each other 185 times in the league, with no other match having been played more in the history of Serie A. Juve are the team that has beaten Inter side the most times in the top flight, and the team that has scored the most goals against them in the competition, okay? Bianconeri have lost only one of their last 12 against the Nerazzurri, and Juve have scored 17 goals in their last 6 league games, an average of 2.8 goals per match, 1.5 more than the average recorded in their first 18 league matches. Kenan Yildiz could become the first Juve player to score at least 9 goals in a Serie A season before turning 21 since... Any guesses?
Oh, I think I saw it. Bettega?
Roberto Bettega.
Yeah.
Who scored 13 in the 70-71 season. Since Luciano Spalletti took over as coach, we know Weston McKennie has been Juve's top scorer in all competitions with 7 goals. During this period, he is the Serie A midfielder who has scored the most goals in all competitions. All right, if you're looking at form from these teams, in all competitions, Inter Merda come in with 5 wins, 1 loss. Juve come in with 3 wins, 2 draws, 1 loss. Coming into this matchup, you're going to look at the starting lineups, then we're going to get to our thoughts going into this big matchup, okay? Oh, I got Juve's up first. My bad. Let's take a look at Merda. So you can see, not a lot of surprises. Sommer, Bisek, Akanji, Bastoni, Henrique coming out on the right side as they deal with Dumfries missing the game. Barella, Çalhanoğlu, Zelinski, Di Marco, Thuram and Martinez, although could be a change-up at the top there. But that's probably who's expected. Lautaro's going to stay in there, but, you know, there is a question over that second spot. That's pretty much what we're expecting from them. For Juve, no Kefren Thuram. So you can see here, Di Gregorio, Kalulu, Bremer, Kelly, Cambiaso, Locatelli, Cope Miners, McKennie, Miretti, Yildiz, Jonathan David. I would have picked absolutely anybody here with us today over Cope Miners in that pivot spot. I'm just going to say that right off the bat. Omer, how do you feel about this game? There's the lineups. Let's go. Let's have your thoughts. What do you think?
I hate it when we have like a week that defines our season, a week and a half, but that seems to be the case. We can find ourselves back in the Scudetto race, staying in top 4, and even, you know, having a good advantage going into next week with the Champions League. Or we can have the exact opposite. If we do lose today, I believe we'll drop out of the top 4. Either Roma or Como would win. And we can be out of the title race and out of the UCL, and last week out of the Coppa Italia, and we're left with 1 tournament in February. So a bit bleak, but that's the situation right now for Juve. Inter have really picked it up. I mean, they do have the best squad in the league, and right now it shows. A lot of it is other teams, injuries, dropping points all over the place, including us. I think we could be in a better position, but it is what it is. That's the price of starting the season with Tudor.
Yeah, we knew, you know, it was Inter's to drop last season. It was Inter's to drop this season. I mean, they've got the squad. They've got the squad, and they've worked to that. The other teams have to work to that if they want to be in the mix and they want to do that and whatnot. For us, you know, I said it after a couple of these results where we just kind of lost that momentum, that you can clearly see the play now is that we're doing the right things. We're playing a much better brand of football, but now it's identified what we actually need on the pitch and where the shortcomings are. For God's sakes, we've been going in circles to not even get to that point. So now we're kind of at that point. But there's a drastic difference there, okay? You got a team that's at the end of their cycle now just trying to get hardware. And you've got another team that's literally at stage one, in my opinion. Now that you've got a coach that's got good ideas of what brand of football and trying to get some identity foundations laid in. So, yeah, we can't deny that, right?
Yeah, losing to Ram is a big, big blow for Juve. I don't like seeing Coop Miner's name in there. I would have dropped even Miretti back there, put McKennie in the center, and Chico on the right. And that's what I would have done. I don't think Coop
I
Miners
don't like
just
McKenny
is
in
kind of
a
nothing.
two
But there are
man.
some interesting matchups.
I don't like McKenny in a two-man pivot.
No, not in the two man.
You can make the argument to have a little bit more steel in the
No, no,
midfield because
Miretti's
you're going to lose that if you play Miretti there. But for me, I'd actually play Miretti there. That's me.
yeah, that's what I said. Miretti back, drops back, and
Yeah.
McKennie plays up front in the center. I think he actually did great there. But we do have some interesting matchups in this match, especially Kalulu versus DiMarco and Yildiz versus Enrique. And we'll have to watch out for both of those. A really tough one, like season defining, to be honest,
Yeah.
for Juve.
And that's why the nerves are up around this game right now, man. It's tough. This is a big one. It's a big set of points. The nice thing about this game is that it never really comes down to tactics when you're talking this derby and whatnot. It can become just that classic dogfight, and I believe there's going to be space everywhere. No team is perfect. No team has zero weaknesses. They have weaknesses, and I do believe that some of our strengths can utilize that, but you're going to need certain players out there and be able to attack that. If you're talking about this particular lineup, Cope Miners, for me, I don't think he's going to bring enough to help this group. McKennie up there, I would have liked a little bit more sting in terms of pace, especially out on the sides. McKennie and Miretti should be further back. Slap McKennie in the middle so he can act as a second striker. I'd use Chico Conceição on the outside for his pace because Inter like to get forward on those flanks. So I think the pace is going to be pretty big in this game. So I have some question marks about this lineup. But I'm not locked in that that's 100% going to be the lineup. I wouldn't be surprised. You see maybe one change from that even. Still, we'll see. Spalletti has played it relatively safe after that Monaco game where you saw that made a decent amount of changes and the level dropped. And since then, what did I talk about? I talked about momentum. When you got it, you don't want to let go of it. Sadly for us, those guys coming in have not brought enough to the table. The only guy I can really feel confident about bringing something to the table was Miretti. Every other guy on the bench outside of Jeremy Boga, who had just come on and made more contributions than one player who's been here for 2 seasons, another guy who can't get fit by Valentine's Day, for God's sakes. Boga's done more in a couple cameos. I would have fucking potentially started Boga and played Yildiz as your 10. And you could slap McKennie back there, even though I don't like him in a two-man pivot. Slap him back there and go Chico on the outside and say, fuck, let's fire away and see what happens.
I would start Chico. I think mainly because he gives Yildiz a bit more freedom. And yeah, he's predictable and one-dimensional and whatever, but he does require a lot of attention.
Yeah.
And Juve need that. We need to stretch Inter. We don't have the advantage on the pitch in terms of players per position. We do have the advantage on the bench. We do have Spalletti's experience versus Kivu's non-existent experience. And that's where I expect Juve to shine. That's the one thing we have above them. I expect Spalletti to win us this match. and they had a week to prepare, which actually caught me off guard. I thought we have like a game every 3 days for the entirety of February, but apparently we had a week, which is great news. Losing to Ram is a big, big blow. I don't want to see Coop Miners anywhere near that starting lineup. And those would be, I mean, the rest of the lineups kind of picks itself out. We've heard that Cabal might start. I've seen some reports about that. And I don't know. It's hard to say how you are going to play right now.
Cabal in this game is a no for me. Definitely not from the start. I understand the experience thing with Spalletti too, but I also can't help but feel it's a little handcuffed. Boga will, I mean, it's crazy to say that, but Boga is a guy that can help you off the bench.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Jigrova has not done much of anything, and he's looking like a futsal player out there. So I don't know if I have that faith in the bench. So you can't deny he's got obviously way more experience than Kivu, but his hands are kind of tied too when you're looking at depth of squad. These guys just haven't been bringing it, and we dropped off in Monaco when we made some of those changes, and you've seen it relatively safe since then, but a couple of bad results, and now all of a sudden you're climbing back uphill, and that's where we're at. This is a very, very difficult one, when you're looking at their squad, and I mean, we could pull it up one more time. It's there's not going to be too many gaps. There's not going to be too many holes. That back line, Bastoni, sucks when he's asked to defend. In the 3-man back, it works for him. We know when he tries to play a 4-man back with the Azzurri, it's a horror show. But those are all big bodies, though, right? So the one thing with the bigger bodies, though, I'm not worried about Yildiz doing anything against them because he can definitely cook against them. The midfield, they've got 3 good midfielders, man, and they all rotate in and out with each other, and there's no set. Obviously, Çalhanoğlu, the set quarterback, if you want to call him, okay? But they all rotate in and out, and it makes life very difficult when you're trying to defend them because you're zoning up for the majority, but then all of a sudden somebody else takes up that space that they leave, and they're not afraid to send one of those CBs in there. So it's very, very difficult. At the back with their strikers, you're gonna have your hands full. They're gonna get their chances, basically. Mm-hmm. For us, I can't help but look at this lineup and feel like we might be hindered on chance creation, even in a game with open space, because of some of these decisions that we have in here. Your only real aerial threat is Weston McKennie. And when you use him out there, he's got more space to cover to get in there to be that target. It's mostly if the ball's on the opposite side. Yildiz, I don't give a fuck what anybody says. This guy's got to be more central. I don't even care what he fucking says. I don't want to play there. You don't think that Yildiz would play there if asked? He has before. Sit this motherfucker down in a chair in a green room, okay, and show him the tape. Show him the tape of the last game against Inter. Where the fuck did he score that goal from? Like, this guy needs to be in the range to do damage. I don't want to see this guy hugging that fucking sideline because it leaves our outside play stagnant and it doesn't help him. Gives him way too much work to do. I don't give a shit what he wants. He might get away with it more often than not in this game because there's probably going to be space because they're going to push from the outsides. But a big guy that I'm going to look at in this game that it's hard to have faith in based on the string of games is Cambiasso. Cambiasso needs to do something in this game. Cope Miners, he needs to do something in this game.
Yeah,
that's a scary bet to make.
I won't hold my breath,
And sadly, that's where we at.
But interesting stat. Inter is always lauded. Oh, across this season and even the previous season as a very, very good set piece team. Well, we get shit on for being a horrible set piece team. But Inter has 13 goals from set pieces. Juve have 11. 11 goals from set pieces. I swear I can't
This
name
season?
5. This season, yeah.
How
Would
the
you believe
okay.
it?
I could think of 3.
Yeah, I can't remember even 5, but apparently that's the stat. Juve have 11 goals from set pieces. And
That's catching me off guard, man. That's wild.
last week we had more than Inter. They had like 2 more now or something like that
Well,
because of
they
the
pumped
5-0
they
against
pumped
Sassuolo.
Cremonese or something, 5-0.
Sassuolo.
Sassuolo.
So that pumped it up, but it's not as bad as it seems.
That's wild.
Having That's wild.
But who's
I
counting the
think that
stats
as
there?
well.
Stevie Wonder? Like, I don't know, man. I can't think of 11.
I can think of 11 as well, mainly because Juve don't like cross into the area. When they do, it's kind of bad. It's more of like a pass and then a cross. But we have 11. God knows where we got them, but we have 11.
And now let's get to this game because it's time for the predictions, everybody. You know the drill. Final score, tiebreakers. Then we're going to get into some fun stuff, okay? Storm the barn. And, of course, with Omar here, we got the bald statements. Listen, I'll go first. I do believe adjustments are going to play a big part in this game. I do think, that could say a lot in this game. I have a feeling that this one's going to end in a 2-2 draw. I just have a feeling it's going to end up being a draw, and we'll just keep moving, and we'll probably still have questions and everything moving into that match against Galatasaray. I have a feeling it's going to be a dogfight. It won't be as crazy, as frantic as the first one this season. I think it's going to be a 2-2 draw. That's just my call for this one. As far as tiebreakers, I think Yildiz scores today. I do think he gets himself on the score sheet, and I think you might have a player sent off in this game. So I'm going to say a player gets sent off, it's a 2-2 draw, and Yildiz gets on the score sheet. That's what I think. Omer, you're up, buddy.
Interesting. I think a draw is the right shout. I won't lie, it's a bit hard to see Juve winning on an away trip there, but it's not out of the question. Like, Juve can win it, and the game needs to be managed correctly by Spalletti and the guys on the pitch. But I think a 1-1 draw would be a logical shout out. I don't
Is that
want...
where you're going with 1-1 draw?
Yeah, I'll go with a 1-1 draw. I think Juve, even if not winning, should have something positive going into the Galatasaray match. Like, if we get thrashed today, that could have major implications.
Yeah.
On the Galatasaray match. So I think a 1-1 draw. A tiebreaker would be, I want to say Yildiz as well. He seems to be doing pretty well against them. He has, 3 goals at the age of 20 against Inter. That's pretty good. And lots and lots of eyes are on the referee after the past week and a half, where it was actually a really big media storm around refereeing in Italy, specifically the Juve matches, because we had the Atalanta and then Lazio ones back to back. And an interesting thing I heard on a different podcast, there's a major influence for referees when they, for the home team. Someone actually tested it, some sort of scientist or whatever tested it, and one of the things they did is they sat down 5 referees in front of the same match. One watches it with volume, the other without volume. One group like this and one group like this. And it was different. It was actually different for the guys hearing the stadium, hearing the fans react. So know that statistically, playing away from home had the referee a better chance of giving calls to the other teams. So
I don't think anybody that's played the game is going to argue that sometimes lobbying, that's what does it, man. Whoever the squeaky wheel, right? There you go. But
Yeah,
we got to talk
Barcelona made a
actually.
career out of it.
We got to talk about the official too, actually, and set the tone there. Federico Lapena, 128 Serie B matches is the majority of his experience. He's done 95 Serie A matches, but in Serie B, he's 5.4 yellows per game, 49 reds, 34 PKs in 128 matches. In 95 Serie A matches, 4.5 yellows per game, 17 reds, 31 PKs in 33 less matches from Serie B to Serie A. So interesting there. The last time that he officiated a Juventus game was Napoli's 2-1 victory over us. That's the last time we saw Federico Lapena. He's going to be the official today. So we got a couple of draws on the board here. Let's take it to the chat, see what everybody's kind of got here. Reno's got a 2-1 Juve victory. Wing of Winter's got a 3-1 Juve victory. 8-5 Juve, Madonna mia. I like this one from LJJ. 0 goals or 4+ goals. Yeah, there you go. DR1S says Juve win by 1 goal. Ryan S coming in with a 4-2 Juventus victory. Okay. I think it's good. I think we're in for a tough one, but there is going to be a watch along, everybody. Hope to see you there with me. Okay. 20 minutes before kickoff. And tomorrow we actually have our kick giveaways. So if you're not subscribed, smash that subscribe button. Okay. Tomorrow we got the kick giveaways, and then I announce February's. You're going to love February's kick giveaways. Not just all our subscribers, but even something special for the members in the legend tier for AJC subscriptions. All right. So we got some great stuff. Guys, we're going to get to some bald statements. All right. So that's where we're going to get to right now before Storm the Barn. All right.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So bold statements. Are we ready? It's just me and you, so we'll just talk about these topics. First one. Conte will never be one of the greats because of his UCL record.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't think it's going to improve, right?
I don't think it's going to improve. I don't know what the hell it is with that competition in that guy. He'll be known as a great league coach, but I don't think he can be put up with the best of the best without getting any sniff of anything in that competition. And it's not that it's like not winning the competition. It's how abysmal it's been in that competition and just Europe in general. And that's what I think will keep him out of that discussion. He'll hit a tier, and it won't be amongst the best of the best.
Interesting. Yeah, I think he proved that he's one of the great league coaches with immediate effect everywhere he played. He can't manage his I believe the way he trains players and whatever. It's not enough for playing 3 matches a week, and he's too stubborn to change the ways he like. So my guess is it's going to stay like that. He's not going to have an amazing season in Europe with any team.
It's also the fact he just can't keep it rolling.
By the way,
like he kept it rolling 3 seasons with us. Well, a couple seasons. You know, he kept it rolling with us for a bit, but like that's a part of it too, right? Like he just can't keep it rolling. So I don't know. It's hard to say though, because he's also
so who would be
never had like some of the budgets of these other guys that have done what they've done, right? But I don't know. I feel like he'll be a tier below, like if you're looking at the greatest, right?
Well, maybe I don't know, maybe that's his mantra, like going to those clubs who are struggling.
If you said, give me the best one competition coach, I'd probably say he's in the greats for sure.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about just flat out greats for coaches, he won't be in the highest tier.
So who are your top 3 all time?
Oh my God, man. we just talked about the coaches when mass did rank in the masses. For me, like Lippi's
No,
my
not for
favorite
Juve. Not for Juve in general.
of all time.
Yeah.
Carlo Ancelotti is up there for sure.
Hmm.
As one of the best. He's succeeded everywhere he's gone, and he's been able to have like success, like, and actually build upon it and keep it rolling, right? Sir Alex Ferguson is going to be up there amongst the best of the best. All the money, you could say whatever you want, but Pep is going to be up there. And I know people hate that he's going to be, considered this robot. Lippi is up there. Trapattoni is up there. Those are all elite coaches. I don't even know if I throw Klopp in there, to be honest, as like one of the. I think Klopp, Mourinho, like then you get a step down from those kind of guys. For me personally.
Yeah, I think my top three are exactly the same. Ferguson, number one, mainly for longevity and understanding when to let players go. And he's the one who handled generation swaps the best. Like they didn't even feel it.
Yeah.
Ancelotti, number two, has to be. Also, the humility. He had no idea going to coach Everton and then Napoli and then going back to Real Madrid and winning the Champions League again. I mean, just amazing. Everywhere he went. Now he's at Brazil. Let's see how they do in the World Cup. And number three would be Pep. Yeah, I'm sorry. That Barca team was probably the best ever, and
that's why for that, like, if we're looking at those names, there's no chance Conte gets in that list. Like, he's not.
Like, even Simeone is better than Conte, in my opinion. If you look at the big picture, I think he's better than Conte. And Mourinho is a good shout. I mean, there are a lot of good shouts, but those are the top three. Okay, next one. That one came also from a different podcast, and it's been a major talking point. Normal penalties should be abolished from football. And when I say normal, I mean mid-game, like not like the penalty shootout you have at the end.
Get rid of penalties altogether?
If you want, you can do it for very specific occasions.
No, we shouldn't take penalties out completely. No, but I think there is an argument if you're looking at the punishment. Like there's an argument to be had over teams walking away with a PK in something that's probably not coming out dangerous as far as an opportunity goes, right? I don't like too much change in the game. I think it starts to get a little bit arcade feel. Now all of a sudden we're tweaking way too much. PKs do not need to be removed. Absolutely not. But there is an argument to be made over some of the shit that's coming out with PKs for teams and being major factors in games. So that for me comes down to rules more than anything. So take PKs away? No. Look at your rules. Look at handballs. Look at what you're rewarding teams with. Yeah. So no, keep PKs. Look at your rules.
Yeah, I wouldn't abolish them altogether, but there is an issue. Like that Bremer handball against Atalanta was nothing.
That was terrible.
That was nothing. That was not a chance. That was not a ball going even in the direction of the net. That was a cross. That thing shouldn't be a penalty. Should never be a penalty. Yet it was, and it actually ruined our game. Especially when we had like a handball against Lazio in like the first 10 seconds. That was even more of a handball than the one Bremer got, and we got nothing from Tiffy.
I said it a long time ago. I think this was, I don't know, a couple of years back, but I was like, I've always said, if you're going to do handball for PKs, the ball needs to be heading towards the goal. If the ball isn't heading towards the goal, then it should be indirect, even if it's in the area. Like flat out. Yeah. Like it's silly that a ball could be, this cross could be going miles away. You'll never know from the trajectory. It nicks a hand that is tight to Bremer's body. Even if it's out here this way, it's still in line with his chest. How does that end up in a PK? Like, that's garbage to me. So again, tweak the rules. Tweak the rules.
Yeah, the rules definitely needs to be tweaked. Maybe lower the XG on penalties. Like, I don't know, take it a few more yards back, make it even a bit harder to score. I don't know what's that, like a 0.8 XG on a penalty.
I don't even think it needs to be that. I don't think we need to get crazy or make the area. I've heard people say make the area smaller, move the kick spot. No, I just think it needs to make sense. The punishment needs to fit the crime, basically. You know,
Yeah,
if the
and
ball's
right
not
now
going
it doesn't.
towards goal, you shouldn't have a PK on a handball. Like I don't know.
I wouldn't even mind a free kick from inside the area. If it's like the Bremer case, I wouldn't mind it being a free kick from inside the area. Anyway, next one. The All or Nothing documentary on Juventus was actually a very good documentary that showed us what's to come. Now, I'll remind you, it was the first Pirlo season, 2021, the first year we didn't win the Scudetto after the first 9.
I mean, it was good. Show us what's to come. Maybe. I don't know. I don't really know. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's always good to see behind the scenes. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It showed us what to come in terms of the locker room.
In terms of the management of the club, you saw a lot of Paratici back there, the way he handled players, the chemistry between the team, the way they treated each other, how they acted after losses, after wins. I think something did break in that season. Something was gone once it happened. It actually happened the season before that, but that was
I don't know if it
really the end of it.
truly. I don't know if it truly set the tone for exactly what was to come. I don't think it got to that point. It was a good documentary though, but I don't think
Yeah.
it showed enough to have people feeling, oh, I know exactly what's coming down the pipeline. Yeah.
No, in hindsight, no one could tell back then, and it
Yeah.
was right after COVID, so gotta point that out. That was a big, big thing. But anyway, okay, next one, last one. The fact that we're talking about all those youngsters playing for the Azzurri, like Rovella, Ricci, Miretti, etc., is proof how bad Italy's situation is. Because I'll tell you why I had this question. Because when you do have players who are solidified and you want to see them play and they're the best at their position, you don't talk about the youngsters. When you had Pirlo and Gattuso there, no one was, oh, when we're going to get to see Montolivo play for Italy and all that. Like if after a few good performances you start talking about we should call up Miretti, then the level is not high. A youngster like Miretti with a few appearances should be way down the pecking order, but it isn't because Italy's situation is bad and the level of the players is bad for me.
It's not the best sign when you're looking to the youngsters to step in and make impacts. You want them to like gain the experience of joining the Azzurri and being somewhere down the line and preparing themselves, right? And I think that's probably still what's happening with Miretti in this situation. I don't think he's going to come in and play a big factor in these qualifiers like the playoffs. I don't see that happening, but he's getting calls. I think there's some uncertainty with this team just because of the spine. I think the situation is a lot closer to what Gigi Buffon said when he's talking about identity. So I think you have two things at play. Gigi Buffon I don't have it in front of me, but what he said wasn't wrong. We're now all of a sudden for 20 years, what we did for decades upon decades before that isn't good enough. Now we want to be Spain or we want to be someone else. This isn't good enough. Why does the game all have to move towards one nation's belief in how football needs to be played? Every nation had their identity. We had ours. I appreciate that from Gigi, and I agree. But You can't play a brand of football if you don't have the tools. So if you want to talk about, he talks about Giorgio Chiellini would be laughed at because he's not a ball-playing center back these days. And he's like, oh, what? We'd laugh. We wouldn't be able to play him because he's not good on the ball. And I understand what he's saying. But at the same time, if you want to go back to Italy's identity and you want to tell me that you're going to do it with Scalvini, Mancini, or Bastoni, I'm going to laugh in your fucking face. Because they're not the fucking caliber to do it. So if you want to play, the lockdown football transition, the counter-attacking football, you're not going to fucking do it with these guys. So for me, you have a mess when you have the Azzurri because you're trying to work off Blocco Inter, but then you bring it to the Azzurri side and it doesn't fully fit your formation. And then furthermore, you've got no real spine to the Azzurri because you got question marks all over the midfield because you're not locking in on guys. For me, it's clear as day. Our 1A midfield is Locatelli with Tonali and Barella. 3-man midfield. That's your best midfielders right now, period. For me, it's easy. At the back, Jesus Christ, good luck. You don't have a clamped down center back. You don't have a fucking center back that will say, send me your best striker and I'm going to lock him up this game. You don't have anything close to it.
No, absolutely nothing. It's dead.
You don't have a spine completed with the Azzurri, and that's the problem. So I respect Gigi. I love Gigi Buffon, and he's right, but you're also in part wrong because you can't go to your true identity because you don't have it.
I think his main point was that it's not to the level of the Azzurris, to the level of the academies and what they teach and what they focus on, and they kind of neglected the defensive aspect. So when you get like I don't know, a Leoni, let's say, or a Coppola, or one of those guys, you have to do all the work. You don't get a player who actually was trained as a defender in Italy for all of his life. He was trained to be an attacking center back. I think that's what Gigi is alluding to. Like, Italy on the youth level have moved so far away from its origins that it's basically ridiculous to expect them to now start playing that way for the Azzurri. And so yeah, there's an infrastructural issue there with Italian football. Goes all the way back.
There's major issues. There's the lack of identity. He's right. There is a lack of identity, but it's because you lost what you've always known. Mm-hmm. And until these guys come in there, I don't know how the fuck you're going to do it.
Yeah, now two ex-Juve players are doing us a favor and winning against Como. So both Keane and Fagioli scored against Como for Fiorentina.
There you go.
Which is good for us for the
there
race.
You go.
So
beautiful stuff on Bald Statements, everybody. We've got time. Storm the Barn. We're going to tackle Storm the Barn. Let's get into it. All right.
Let's go.
What is the lowest you would sell Coat Miners for and or Cambiasso? Okay, break even this summer on Coat Miners, I believe, is 33 million euros. You're probably gonna have to take a hit.
Yeah, I think it's done. I'll take the hit, and that's it. Like, if his best position here at Juve is center back, we don't need you at center back.
Not for 60 million when Kelly's ahead of you.
No
you were brought in for the midfield to bring goals. It's just, I appreciate that you helped us out for that period of time and you got us by. But holy fuck, man, that's just not it. Co-miners, take as much as you can get. But obviously, it's probably going to end up in a loan style situation, man. This guy's Arthur 2.0. For Cambiasso, the lowest I would take for Cambiasso, so this is pretty much all capital too in the move. The lowest I would take on him is 30, man. I'm not taking anything less than 30 on him. And
Yeah, I would agree.
I still think based on the market, based on what some people want out of certain guys, I'm still saying you can get 35 to 40. You should be able to get 35 to 40 for Cambiasso still. But
Yeah, I would agree.
I'm not taking less than 30 on him.
Yeah, he still has value. He's still fairly young, not a youngster, but still fairly young. Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Kamaldini. Eh.
With United targeting Kalulu, would you sell him knowing he'd give us a huge amount of capital? I've seen fans saying selling him and buying Palestra would be the best business in years. I'm a no. I would not sell Kalulu.
I would not sell Kalulu as well.
I
I
wouldn't do
think
it.
he's doing phenomenal. I think he's on the trajectory. Again, one of the guys who could be called up for France for the World Cup. That had, I think he played for France before, but he hasn't been a mainstay in their roster, and now he can. Again, he's not one of the untouchables. There is a price. I don't know it yet, but I'm really happy with Kalulu. I'm really happy with what I'm seeing. And he's got his hands full with DiMarco, who's probably been Serie A's MVP so far this season.
The
So
number
a
for
big test for
Kalulu
him.
has to be big. When you're talking about Lloyd Kelly earlier on in the show, Kalulu is in my core moving forward. My core is very simple for Juve. It's Bremer, it's Kalulu, it's Locatelli, it's Yildiz, it's Kefren Turam. That's my 5-man core. That's my core. And if you want to pluck any of the players out of there, the number has to be very, very strong. Like very, very strong. I don't think it's going to reach that number for Kalulu. So for me, I'm not interested in selling him. And he is very, very far down the list. And if I'm looking at Kalulu or Kelly to sell, it's Kelly. I'm taking Kelly over Kalulu to say goodbye to generate capital. The fact that you could potentially bring in 90 million in capital between Cambiasso, Gatti, and Kelly, I mean, that's probably where I'd be looking.
I have an STB. If one of the loanies comes back, who do you think Spalletti would actually do wonders with and actually can use him? No, someone he might keep. Like, do you think
May-
he can pull something out
Maybe
of Douglas
Louise.
Luiz?
Maybe Louise.
Maybe
But
Luiz.
Louise, it's everything else, man. He wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
He wouldn't take. It was all broken, man. It was all broken.
I don't.
So the relationship. But if I had to guess on a player that he'd probably do well, it'd probably be Louise. I'm thinking. You know.
Yeah.
Would you take 75 on Kalulu? Oh,
I don't think I will. I don't think I will.
that's a huge number, man.
That's a big number.
That's
It's
a
just replacing
huge.
him.
I might, because I said if you're gonna pluck one of the core guys, it's got to be big. 75. That would keep Kelly around.
Dude,
75 is huge, man.
I don't know. They're spending money out there on a lot of unknowns. Like they spent 80 million on Maguire and Fofana, and Kalulu is way ahead of those guys. Far better. I mean, we can do better than 75 from the Premier League. If it's Man United, nothing
Man,
below 95.
75 is huge, man. That'd be one of the biggest sales. Would that
Yeah, in
that
history.
would crack our top 5 for sales, man?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus. Just imagine being Sev, having Chiesa and Jagrova as your boys. Oh, Sev, it's a tough day. I told all you, when he gets your kit, it's just a matter of time. Surprise, surprise, he's got a Jagrova kit this year. I'm telling you guys. Sev Mush. We're going to call him Sev Mush. Who would you start alongside Yildiz tonight against Merda? Well, we saw the projected, and I mean, there's an interesting dynamic playing out there. You need to see more, but the first 2 cameos have been very promising from Boga. I will die on this hill. I need to see Yildiz as the actual 10, man. This team will take strides when he's in the 10. For as far as this game, I would move Miretti back, get rid of Colt Minor, send him to the bench, put McKennie there, and play Chico. And I think Omer had the same thing when we were discussing it earlier. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
We do have a piece of news. I see a Storm the Barn about it. So we're going to shut this down and we're going to get to something else that I had up here that we got to look at. The fourth kit. Dear God, can we not give the Chihuahuas the Rubentus, thing on a platter? What the fuck, man?
Yeah. And Bremer is a good-looking guy, and that photo is still shit. It's ugly. I don't like it at all.
He's probably staring at the guy right now thinking, what the fuck have you done to me?
Yeah.
This is terrible.
No, yeah, it looks like shit. Don't do it.
And they're
Please don't do
only releasing it in a Premier Edition, so you won't have a replica option, which means it's 150 euros or some shit like that. This is awful. Awful.
Yeah, those don't like horizontal lines on kits anyway.
We don't need hoops, okay? This is like fuck, man. It makes Bremer look like the kid you stuff in a locker. And you'd never stuff Bremer in a locker. You wouldn't even fucking fit. This is terrible, man. Jesus. Don't go stuffing kids in lockers, by the way. Okay? No bullying.
Recommended not to do that.
If I had to rate it, so from Ryan, what do you give the rate? Dude, out of what? A 10? That thing is like that's a 2, man. That's ass. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, that's a 2 and I'm being generous.
Yeah, that's a 2 and it's only getting 2 points because it's black and white, for fuck's sakes. That's terrible, man. But yeah, if Juve had a rugby side, I guess, as Yorio points out, looks like a rugby jersey. It does. I read somewhere that in the Japanese league, they made a system of when going to penalties, the winners get 2 points and the losers 1 point, and the draw can be abolished. What do you think? So abolishing draws for kicks.
I saw it too. I haven't checked it. I don't think it was many penalties. I think like if you win 3 points, if you lose 0 points, if there's a draw, then you go to penalties. Then the winner gets 2 and the loser gets 1. I don't know. Interesting. The concept of draws is a bit weird. I don't know of a lot of other sports who have the option of a draw. Like at the end of the day, you gotta have a winner. But I don't know. Taking examples from the Japanese league, I need to see it work out in other places and what's the point tally at the end of the season, and like stats and stuff about it to make a real judgment. I don't know. It's interesting, but we won't try it first. We shouldn't try it first.
I think it's a bit too much. I like it more traditional, the competition. I wouldn't go that route. I wouldn't go. That's just me.
No, it's interesting playing for a draw. Like if you're 1 goal down in a 90th minute draw, can actually win you the match and get you 2 points instead of 1. Could be costly, for teams.
You start to go like NHL style. You're tied after overtime. You play for an extra point. So maybe you do kicks and you just get an extra point. So you come out with 2 instead of 1. So the team that loses a PK gets 1 point. You get 2 for winning the kicks, but you don't get the full 3 and win. That's something. A little bit more show for the fans too. Those that like kicks. But I don't really know, man. I don't know. Feels a little hokey. I don't know. The traditionalist in me has a.
I know. Yeah. The football fans in general have problems letting go of what they're used to and what they grew up on. So it's a tough pill to swallow.
What's the greatest Juventus goal ever scored in the Giuseppe Meazza Stadium? I
Higuain is a
mean,
very good shout. But that Del Piero free kick in 0506, the one he's mentioning, that was iconic.
that
I
was
mean,
massive.
most of the photos of Del Piero with the tongue out is from that moment. A lot of the tifos and everything they
Like
use that moment.
the Higuain ones for moments, Del Piero like moments like huge, and I guess Marquisio had that fantastic. That finish was insane.
And who was the guy he threw on the ground there?
Kivu,
Christian Kivu. That's right.
Kivu, yeah, Kivu. That goal was insanity, man. That's like the touch in tight chip over key, like fucking nuts, man. That's got to be up there in the list. The Del Piero 506, Higuain.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Do you
think of some
remember
others.
who? Do you remember who took the shot? I mean, Quagliarella had an amazing one. I think it was the 12-13 season. A long shot curler. We won that 2-0. I mean, there were some great. I just don't remember what was at San Siro and what happened in the Allianz.
Yeah. Um, we got a shout. Cugino had a Yildiz left-footed shot there last season was the equalizer. I don't know, man. Dybala had a fantastic one during the COVID season, but I think that was actually at
Yeah.
Allianz Stadium. That was one of the nicest goals I've
Yeah,
seen.
that was actually the last match with a crowd before we went into lockdown.
Was there a crowd there for that one? I don't think there was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There was. It was the last. Maybe there wasn't a crowd
No, I'm
yet, but
thinking
it's
this
before.
one wasn't actually there at the San Siro. This was in our house. It was in the Derby
It
di
might have
Pally.
been at our house. I
But
think
no,
there
there
was no
wasn't any
crowd.
fans. I don't think there was fans there. The
No,
one
no,
where
there
he
wasn't any
accepts it out
fans.
on the flank and then he
Yeah,
makes
with
his way
Ramsey.
all the way into the middle and then it's an outside of the boot tuck after beating 3 defenders.
Yeah, with Ramsey. No, there was no crowd there, but right after that, we went into lockdown and the league stopped. Like that
Yeah.
was the last match
That
for
was a
lockdown.
fantastic goal. But again, I think that one was at home. But yeah, great
Quadrado,
stuff.
yeah, Quadrado had a great shot, a volley from outside the area. We won 1-0, but again, I don't remember where we played that match. But that was a
Yeah,
beautiful.
I think that one was at Allianz too. There's a lot of great
Mm.
goals in this matchup, man. But oh man, those ones ring out, man. The Higuain, the Del Piero, Marquisio, that Marquisio one. If Kelly and Kalulu make the World Cup squad, they really need to thank Juve for getting them there. Hey, man, they're putting in the work too, man. Jesus, I'm tired just thinking about all the minutes. What's his name? Kalulu's getting this season. Every single minute available out there. Insane Ironman showing so far. Knock on wood. Why is Inter's goalie so shit? Because he's only good in the summer. Oh, buddy. I'm going to let that one go at him.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right?
that's a good one.
There
That's a
you
good
go.
one, Papa.
Only
Keep 'em
good in
coming.
the summer. With a win today, give me your percentage on competing for the Scudetto. Trim, I love you, buddy. It's low percentages, man. We needed it to. We had a moment there where we could have knocked it back to 7, and at that moment, I said, like, if you knocked this thing down to 7 like weeks ago, you could talk about it. But right now, man, nah, it's
It's
low.
tough to see it happening because both teams that are competing with us and are above us have nothing left but the league.
Exactly.
And so it's going to be a tough stretch. I mean, if we do get out of the Champions League and Inter drop points, then we can talk. Right now, it's, I don't know, 5%.
Yeah. Panda's got, is Kalulu the Di Lorenzo of Spalletti, his Scudetto winning year?
Nah.
Seems like it. Sure. Except better. Boom.
Yeah.
All these teams dropped out of the Super League, but only Juve was punished. Who actually punished Juve and why? Hey, man. This, I've said it a million times, was 100% the attack of Andrea Agnelli. This was their route to go at him.
Yeah, they wanted to punish those teams, and Juve were the easiest prey for those assholes over there at UEFA. All those assholes. It was pretty clear they wouldn't do anything with Real Madrid. They can't, basically. And Barcelona, I mean, I don't know how they do business. They could have fucked them over. I don't know why they didn't. But Juve, yeah, Juve were the main guys to suffer from all that bullshit.
The kicker was Gravina. The second Gravina saw the opening to be this fucking right-hand dude to Sefrin, whatever, to get his way in, that is what fucked Juve and essentially Agnelli over. The second Gravina saw that opening and took it, we were fucked because then we didn't have protection from the league. And Gravina is the biggest fucking tool out there. Useless, worthless piece of shit that's never going to see this league make any progress whatsoever. That's what fucked Juve. When they got punished from the league and Sefrin was able to do that, it was all over. It was all over.
Yeah, and you have corruption written all over that. I mean, we don't want to get back into that story, but the same thing that they accused Juve of, they can accuse any team in the league. And the same thing. And you know what? Gravina has single-handedly ruined Italian football for years to come, and will take a long time, if any, to remedy this situation.
There's a
Because
fucking re-election in there. Like, he got re-elected. I have no words. This guy's a fucking idiot.
He preferred fondling Cheferin's balls rather than supporting the teams in his league. And I hope he gets fired and will be a disgraced character for the rest of his life. That's what I wish for him.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now, will Yildiz be looked at differently now that he is the best paid player?
Yes, but I don't think it's that far from how he's looked upon right now. I mean, a few weeks ago before he changed it. I mean, he's the main guy. Everyone is looking to him to create something. We do look worse when he's not on the pitch. It's very hard to replace. But yeah, that's how fans work. I mean, yeah, the money doesn't directly come out of our pockets, but that price tag has a major influence on how we view players. I mean, take Dushan back to 2 million a season, give him the same numbers, and we would say that's a good contribution for someone who's getting 2 million a season.
I actually feel slightly different. I don't think it's actually going to change a whole bunch with him because I actually think he's already producing what I feel is fine for that salary. And being the highest paid player, I still look at the number and I mean, shit, what we were getting for 1.7 million, that was a steal. Like, this guy was grossly underpaid. So now I just feel like it's fair. And I don't think, you could talk about greater expectations, highest paid player. Those expectations are on every Juve player as it stands. Like, when you got a guy that's 2 million, we treat him the same as a guy that's making fucking 14 or 15 mil. That's just part of life at Juve. But yeah, of course, like, he's going to be our guy. Like, we're going to look to him to be this driving force of Juve. He is the main pillar. If you're making your own personal core of Juve, he's the main man on all of our lists. So, I mean, naturally the expectations are going to be there, but they've been there like day one. I know the age factor kicks in and all this, but with what he's doing this season, when he started to lift off, you could see the expectations ramp up. You could look at it just in simple match day predictions when everybody's like, Yildiz is going to score. Yildiz is going to score. Like, you're looking for him to do this now. So the expectations are created from what he's showing you. But I don't think it changes drastically because I think it's a fair number. And I think he's only going to improve. If we do things properly, I said this, even if someone came in with an astronomical offer, I'm not selling this guy anytime soon because I think the sky's the limit. I actually think he levels up if we do the right work in the summer.
Yeah. Okay. I started with I don't think it's going to change that much because the expectations were always there. Now he's got to be held accountable, but that's what you get for being one of the most promising players and someone who, by other great players, has been lauded as a future Ballon d'Or winner. That's part of the gig. I
Yeah.
mean, you got to live up to your price tag. You can't pay Ronaldo 30 million if he doesn't give you at least 25 goals each season.
Yeah.
It's true for any big club in the world, not solely to Juve.
But Berto, Gravina won the Euros for Te de Gravina, okay?
In spite of Gravina, Italy
In
won the Euro.
spite of Gravina, the Azzurri won the Euros. Will Arin Licina be the next Yildiz? Ha! I hope. It's
Yeah,
cool
can
to
only
see him
hope,
training.
but-
He's already training first team. He's getting first team training reps. There's that other kid they picked up, the striker, 19-year-old, was it Justin Abo. Man, that name.
Obo. Let's call him Obo. And
Abo.
that, yeah.
Abo. Man,
Abo.
that is.
Yeah.
Imagine this guy's gonna. If this guy hits it big, and you're calling a live reaction video, it's like, Abo coming up the wing here. What? Abo. That is a disaster. We're calling him Obo.
Yeah, we already had players who were supposed to be great at next gen and it didn't quite work out. Remember when we signed this Moreno guy who broke all the records for La Masia at Barca, Messi's records and whatever, and we signed him and it didn't even get a sniff of a match day squad, let alone first team football. So Licina will have to wait. The next Yildiz, that's a big shout because Yildiz is like number 2 right for youngsters right now in the world statistically.
Cliff
Yeah,
had
that's
a
a
hot
big ask.
take, and he actually rates him higher than Yamal. That was a little bit of a hot take. Cliff just kind of snuck in there. Whew.
No. That's exaggerated. That's exaggerated.
Is
The
it
guy led
that far
Spain-
exaggerated though?
Yes,
if you were to
yes.
drop Yildiz in a league like La Liga, I don't know, man.
But those are hypotheticals. I can't compare him to Yamal. Yamal plays for Spain. We're actually doing great, and he won the Euros with them and possibly the World Cup. He's been to Champions League semifinals, and he's younger than Yildiz by 2 years. I mean, mentally, Yildiz is ahead of him. I think Yildiz is a lot more
That's
mature
not
player.
that part's not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah, that's not even close. But in
Bigger
terms of
games, there
skill,
might be a
I mean,
shout there for bigger games, but Yamal's got some big games where he did pretty damn well too. I don't know, man. I don't think the separation's that far. It's hard to compare because he's playing in Spain, man. I'm telling you,
completely
it's
different
harder to
manager
compare. If
league.
you drop Yildiz on that Spanish side, what are we talking about here? If you play him in Spain, what are we talking about? I saw him with the Turkish side play the Spaniards, and Yildiz was the only guy doing anything for Turkey. He was all over the place. I don't know, man. I don't think the separation's that far. They have big impacts. I just think the one thing I would give Yamal over Yildiz is the fact that he could keep it going a lot more steady. Like Yildiz, I've seen a dip for a couple games here and there, and he's kind of like one of these, whereas Yamal's more like this right now. And that's why I give him the slightest of edges, but I don't think it's exaggerated. No. I don't think it's, a huge gap. I think it's pretty close.
He's not above him. My issue with Yildiz right now, the issue in his game that needs to improve is mainly his finishing. He gets a lot of chances, lots of shots. A lot of them goes to the upright or just outside the goal. He doesn't convert enough for me for the amount of shots he's taking. Yamal's conversion rate is just phenomenal. The assists and the goals, I think that's where Yildiz is lacking, and it needs to improve. It will improve.
Spanish league, though, I'm telling you, hot take.
Doesn't matter. He did it in the Champions League as well.
Yeah, and Yildiz can too, with a team that's not known for that. I'm telling you, it's the separation's not there. Alex P's got a hot take. Yamal peaked early. It's downhill from here. Chris is making a bold statement. In 4 or 5 years' time, Yamal will be a name that we will remember and wonder why he has lost it. Yamal's going to destroy his career like Balotelli. Well, that's where the mentality
Possibly.
I think we're talking about kind of comes into play, because you definitely know there's two completely different kids in Yildiz and Yamal. Yildiz is almost close to being just a man in terms of how he carries himself, presents himself, and represents himself and his club. Yamal's nowhere near that. You could still see a lot of immaturity there and stuff, but I don't know if I'd go as far to say in 4 or 5 years we're not going to know who this wonder what happened to. I don't know if it's going to get to that degree, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be
No, but
surprised if you were going to bet on that
can
over the
be the
two
next
players.
Neymar.
I'd bet on it over, Yildiz, but Yamal's fantastic. I just don't think the separation is as big as some make it
No,
out to
I'm
be.
not
That's
saying.
all.
I'm not saying it's big. Yamal has been doing it from a younger age and has the trophies to show for it. Yildiz still has a way to go. He can be better than him in the future, but right now Yamal is ahead of him. I'm sorry. Love Yildiz, hate Yamal, but that's reality.
Giving Yildiz the 10 was not a problem at all for Yildiz maturity. Yeah, it's one of those things we all kind of start to wonder, give a young guy too much too soon, but he's handled everything thrown at him with just passed every test with flying colors. This kid is an absolute pleasure, an absolute treat to watch. And I've got more faith after how everything went down in his words that we can lock in with this guy. I think he's there, and he's there for the cause. And I feel like Juve is his club, and Yildiz is our guy. And I'm stoked to it. Hopefully, Yildiz has a big, big game today, because we got to smash Inter. Confidence level, I think it ends up in a draw. Let's get this garbage out of here. We do have to finish up with a day. Who gets the preliminary day from Inter as we wrap things up? Chat, who are you giving your preliminary day to? And Omer, who's your guy?
Yeah, I think it's going. I think it's going to be unanimous. Lautaro Martinez all day, every day.
Yeah. I'm going to let everyone else do it just so I could throw some nasty hoodoo Jan Sommers way, and I'm going to go to Sommers so that he lets in a couple howlers, hopefully, and we could take advantage of it, all right? But yeah, Pineapple Head Lautaro, he can get him, okay? He can get him. You guys, 20 minutes before kickoff, we're going to reconvene for the watch-along, all right? Big one today. Let's see if the lads can do it. Omer, ton of fun today, okay? Great stuff, as always. Absolute pleasure.
Always
Army,
a pleasure.
you guys are second to none. Hey, if there's one thing we could take going into tomorrow's post-match podcast, it's this. That no matter the result, there's going to be a couple kits given away. Hey, so there's that. And then we're going to unlock February's kit giveaway, okay? Till the watch-along, fino alla fine. Forza Juventus, let's give these motherfuckers one of these. Come on, let's go, baby.